So Sanjay, there is one ticket on my name, 689, which was completed and already, we can mark it as done. So I want Kevin to confirm on that. Sorry, Justin to confirm on that.
Sorry, Narendra. I've been
Yeah, no worries. It's been done in fraud, Justin. So I had attached some screenshots on the ticket. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that is more than likely all set then. I'm not worried about that.
Okay, I'll mark it as done, Justin.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
And I think Kevin has a review. He's on PTO, so he's back, I think, tomorrow. So that'll have to get reviewed. Yeah, so his stories will have to move automatically. Okay.
So 628 for me, if we could move that to the next sprint, I'm still working on it.
Okay, it'll automatically move over. And then I think Philip had a story. Looks like it's just waiting for review. I think Julieta's going to want to test that, so that'll move over. Okay, that works.
And then we have one 617 that we're waiting for somebody to test just to verify before we push it. Do we know if that'll be tested in enough time, or should we just consider that one moving on to the next sprint? 617.
Who can test it? Let's see.
Justin said he might, but I'm sure he's crazy busy.
Yeah. Justin can't test it. It'll probably move to the next sprint. I just can't imagine wrapping it. And this was a 3-pointer?
Yeah, it wasn't very big. So there's no estimate.
There's no estimate. Yeah. But yeah, with that said, it'll probably push. I can't imagine us wrapping it in one day.
Yeah.
Okay, looks good. I'm gonna close the sprint and then we can open the new one.
Nice. So is it like 35 issues we knocked out this sprint?
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Let me add the dates for this one.
Sanjay, can we move 683 to the top of the backlog, not turn to the current sprint?
Yeah, go ahead. That one. Jeez. There we go. Okay, new sprint is opened and the stories got moved. All right, let's take a look at the backlog. Sam, can you confirm that the stories are in priority order for the ready stories?
I can confirm that.
Thank you. All right, let's take a look. So chatter, we want to move that in. So we want to do some analysis on what we want with Capato, as well as finding a way to put it in Salesforce and Slack. Is that correct? Or do we think we want to hold off on that?
Which one are you referring to?
683. Sorry, yeah. I can. Let me
Let's skip that one for now.
Okay, let's put that towards the back. That's fine. Refresh and I can display. Sorry, I thought I was displaying. I think it's, hold on, sorry, I'm not seeing my window. There it is. All right. Let's take a look. All right, so we won't worry about that one. So let's go to 556. Those criteria. Everything's there. What do you all think on sizing? You can put it in chat if you don't want to say it out loud. That's easier. Oh, it's only David, Chandra, and Narendra. That's right. We have 2 people in PTO. 2. Anyone think it's bigger or smaller? Narendra, David? David, agree? Who wants to pick this one up? And also, if it's a candidate for Outfocus, let's just call that out if we think that's a candidate for that.
Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
I mean, it looks like Kevin's done a good amount of work on this one already.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. He's actually opposed. So let's assign it to Kevin. And we'll put it as I have 2 or 3. You thought 2. So we'll put it as 2 and I'll let him know he can adjust it. This one's still in refining, so I'm going to skip that. Page layout, this is on Narendra's.
You can keep 1 point only.
Sorry, Narendra, I couldn't hear you.
You can keep 1 point only.
And this is this maintenance or strategic?
I think maintenance.
It's maintenance, yeah, it's a user. Okay. All right. Integration.
This is also something Kevin already worked, some related linked issues.
Oh, this is the one with Snowflake access. I think, can we leave this one in the backlog since we need to hear back from the data team on the availability of that table? Or is this blocked? This seems like it's a block, but it's out of our hands. Do we need to push it? Justin, this is something that we need to push for this sprint?
So are we completely incapable of moving the ball forward on this until we have the specific table?
I think that was where we had it before. Let's see if we can, when Kevin gets back, if we can push it. But does this have to get done this sprint? I think that's the thing. If it's priority, then it's blocked, then we have to push it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think accelerate it.
Yeah, it's definitely priority. It'll hamstring our customer success org, and what I shared with the data team was like, this is business impact at the level of days, not weeks. Like every day that we don't have it is a real revenue impact.
Okay, so then I think we have to escalate. Okay, then let's move it in the sprint. I'll assign it to Kevin, but then we don't have a blocked button though, do we? So I'll put it as a 3, just as I'll let him know he can change it. And then I'll put down that, I'm gonna put down that you and I are gonna escalate, just to see if we can get this pushed, prioritized with the data team, sorry. On the data team, is Kevin listed here? Who's working with?
I believe it's Christian Purin. If that name's not on the ticket, I can share it in the chat here.
Yeah. It's just so we can reach out to them directly.
Yeah, I think that's what I prepped the tech lead on that team with when I saw them for an unrelated conversation this morning.
Okay. I'll reach out. I'll copy you on it, and then we'll see if we can get that prioritized. I don't think it's a lot of work for them to create a table in a lower environment, just so we can get this moved. So, okay. And let's put it back into this sprint. Here we go. Track RFX project. Oh, this is with the new template. Thoughts on sizing?
It's a good size. So is this just to? Okay.
There, it's everything. New custom object.
Yeah, I mean, we're tracking. Yeah, I need more time on this.
It doesn't have to be a new custom object. That's why the
It's likely.
the Loopio object is in there as well, but it was just ideas that we wanted to throw out.
Didn't we do something like this before we created a new object for tracking?
So is the I don't know, to answer your question.
I thought we did something similar. I remember we had a discussion on tracking data.
Yeah.
Miranda thinks it's a 3. Your thoughts, David?
I still think we need more information. So is the idea just to figure out what data needs to be tracked in either a separate opportunity or a separate object or somewhere else? Is that the ask?
Yeah.
Sam? I mean, that I think would be something that I think the RevOps team would tell us what you want to track, and we'll decide where it gets tracked, right?
I have that and can provide that.
I think that's a requirement for this one. Once we have that, then we can architect the solution. I'm with you. I think it's probably a custom object. It's just to eat cleaner than to mix it in with existing objects or existing custom object. But depending on what we're trying, if it's just 1 or 2 fields, then maybe it's not worth it. So I would want to know that.
Does this change much if it's like, how do I put this? Like if it's a dozen fields versus 20 fields, does that swing the?
No, if it's anything over a handful of fields, then I would automatically default to, let's put it in a custom object.
Yeah, it's, I have a document that I can attach to this. I also see that user stories and context aren't filled in, and that is definitively something that I missed, just a little bit of self-accountability. I will add that when I add the document. But that document is done, ready to go.
Okay. So if we had that.
Do you think it's like a 3, David, or do you think it's bigger?
I mean, if the ask here is just to track them, list them out, then it's very low. It's a 1. That's really that's probably in that document that Justin creates. If the ask here is to actually architect the solution for tracking those, that's a different size. So based on what I see in this ticket, it's a 1.
You can
But I would
adjust it up. We'll assign it to
Yeah.
you then, just till it's,
Yeah, I'll take it. But I would expect at some point to see either we edit this ticket or we create a new ticket for the request to actually architect the solution.
so this might be a phased approach. This one is just down to figure that out, and then the next phase is actually, if this adds on to that architecture, then we'd have a second story.
Yeah, they could be separate or they could be one. We just have to at some point we have to have that piece.
Okay. This one's assigned to Choma already. Is this maintenance? This looks strategic.
It is strategic, and the next one would be maintenance, I guess.
Okay, and what size do you have for these?
So preventing can be like creating a validation role, Justin.
I mean, that would be a good proposal, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the
Problem-
analysis component where you ask those questions.
Yeah, the problem is the trick is going to be what we use as criteria. Are we just going to prevent NA or N/A, or are we going to make a minimum number of records or digits required? I would, if I were to build this, I would just say let's make it a minimum of 3 characters or 4 characters, 4 or more characters, and then you can hit enter if it's less than that. But that would require us to know a little bit about the data that's being requested. If it's possible that we're going to get a 1 or 2 digits and that be an actual submission, then we'll have to go and just block NA. So those are the questions I would ask.
Like it's a phase approach, but yeah. What size do you think, Chandana?
Maybe 2i. So before that, I wanna ask David. It says in the acceptance criteria that users should we should prevent users from putting any non-VAT ID number. So how would the VAT ID number looks like to put it in the validation rule?
That would be a question for RevOps, or you could go and look and check on the data and run a report and see what's being put in there.
Okay.
And if it's a minimum, I would find out where that ID is coming from. So if that ID is being generated somewhere, find out how they're generated and what the requirements are. So if it's always a 5-character ID, or if it's always numeric, or if it's always alphanumeric, we'll have to figure out
If it's
what should.
Okay, sorry, you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, just figure out what should be in there, and then we can match what we expect to be created with what's put in Salesforce. Right?
Yeah, understood.
What do you think about the remove, Chandana?
Oh,
Estimate.
I think I should look at the records, and the number of records will decide. I can say 2 to 3 for now.
I would want to know what we're going to replace it with.
They wanted
just
it to be blank, left as blank. If we have NA or N/A, they want
It's in the
to.
acceptance.
Right. Well, would that cause a problem when we set the one above 659? If we set that one to not allow blank and or less than so many characters, would that cause an issue?
I think I need to complete this ticket first to create a validation rule. Then that would solve the purpose.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but we probably should settle on what we want to replace those fields with. Because if we just blank them out, that could cause problems when we create the validation rule. We could put in a fake value in there that's the word blank. And then that way our validation rule won't be tripped by that. However, if anybody in the future adds the word blank, then... So anyway, they're connected. We got to decide them both at the same time, I would say.
Yeah, you're almost introducing a way for people to get around it. So I don't know what that ID is used for, but you may want to start by pulling a report of all the ones that have that NA value and then sending it over to figure out how we want to switch them out. Because maybe somebody can go get you the right value to put in there.
Yeah, in a perfect world, we'd want the actual value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pull the report and update Justin on that.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet it's going to be lots of records, and no one's going to want to go through and update each and every single one.
Yeah.
But
And I would tell you, after you get that information, Sheldon, you may want to circle back with David and Justin to kind of see your findings and come up with a solution, figure out what the architecture would be.
Yep.
Okie doke. Let's see. The next one is Capado user. So we said we're going to prioritize this one, so I'm just going to put this into the sprint.
But isn't this after creating a Salesforce org access to the users listed in that ticket?
Yeah, there's this one, 663 down here.
Yep. I think
You
that
need
should
both
be
of these,
done
right?
first to create a user.
Okay. Yeah, so these have to be in here too. So
For that, I think we need to have.
well, I think you have to circle back with Kevin because he was kind of working on this one. So this might be something you and Kevin have to figure out what has to happen to enable Capado, and then start circling back with the team on what has to happen.
Sounds good.
I don't think it's a ton of work to get it to work. It's just that we have to go through what everyone has to be doing going forward and then start piloting it and then start doing it on the regular. All right. What's that? Let's see. Disable auto creation. 608. Oh, and I wanted to ask a quick question, Justin, for the leads work. Is that data ready? Is that a priority? That's still a priority, correct?
Sorry, very much still a priority. When you say, is the data ready? What do you mean by that?
Oh, there's the decision logic that we were looking to. So I wanted to make sure we pull that stuff in if that's still a higher priority.
Yeah, Sam, where is that stuff currently sitting from your point of view?
It only, let me rephrase. The tickets themselves are not filled out yet, so I didn't want to have them up in the top area for prioritization, but if you and I can come together and get them filled out quickly, we can sneak them into this sprint. It was just one of those things where I haven't seen the tickets in refined yet.
Yeah, maybe you and I might steal from our roadmap review session later today, but we get eye to eye on those, get them, at least some of them ready before tomorrow, because it will be a tight turnaround time. Apparently the go live date for the website is September 17th.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
I had a similar response, similar number of syllables for sure. Yeah.
I would have to turn my microphone off to hear all my syllables, but I'm not going to do that. Well, if that's the case, then we have to pull it in the sprint. We might have to swarm on this a little bit. So I might have to have David and Kevin look at this right after you put the data in play and then come up with a plan to deliver. This may change some of the stuff we pull in the sprint if we have to have more than, if we have to have two people working on it. That's okay. Again, if that's the priority. But also like understanding that we're recreating all the stuff that exists, right? So there's a lot to absorb. Maybe not if it's the simplest solution. Also test it. Julieta has to review this and then also give feedback on what has to happen to test it. So there's a lot. So even that, unless they're willing to concede on some of our rigor for testing, right? So then they're responsible for all the end-to-end. So that's the risk that we employ with pulling this in so fast, right, Justin? So,
yeah.
and that's,
one of the benefits is that we will really only have to look at, once the record is created in Salesforce, how do we get it to the right user? Because I'm actively doing, like, have been during this call and have a troubleshooting meeting right after this on the records being created
Mm-hmm.
thing, which also has some smoke, as you might be able to infer from my.
Yeah. Is there some data quality issues?
More like the data is not appearing.
Oh, that's quality. So,
Sure is.
So we don't have to dive down the rabbit hole. We'll
Yeah.
pull this into the sprint. We won't assign it yet, and then once we have that information, we'll then delegate it out. But I want to make sure it's not lost. That's why I spiked it in just now in the conversation. Because the team's gonna have to circle back with what that looks like. If it's very simple, then they might be able to just deliver something really, really simple to get move their testing forward. And then I think Julieta's gonna have some open questions, and I'm just projecting. I'm not saying this is what their testing looks like, so she can see what she has to test that's different or anything extra for us.
Sanjay, can you just put the open ones that aren't already in someone's name in my name for that epic, just so I know to come back and either assign them to other people from the team or refine them myself?
For sure. Refresh this really quick. All right. Let's take a look at the next one.
608.
608, right?
Yeah, you can assign it to me.
I can't hear you. You got to speak up.
Yeah, you can assign it to me.
Okay. Size?
2.
And I assume this one is strategic.
Yeah.
It's another tracking. Is it an enhancement? Thoughts?
So David, is this one do we need to create a new custom field called content partner, something like that on opportunity and accounts? I think same like the previous one.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
David, how do you recognize if an account has a content partner or not?
As a what?
It says that you should track if a account or a deal has a content partner or not. How do you recognize that the account or a deal is associated or involving a content partner?
I mean, I would assume that that's information that's added by the salesperson does anybody on the RevOps team now?
Yeah, we want to enable the end user to be able to specify that. They would know that when they're doing the deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we would just give them the field to put it in, and then that's how they would know.
Okay.
And that's something they'll determine on their end.
Is this something you want to work on, Narendra? Or did you mention it?
I can work on that.
Jonathan, you want to do it? All right. What size do you think it is?
I
What?
can work on that, Sanjay, because Chandra has too many tickets. Sorry.
All right. What's your point estimate then, Narendra?
3.
That's a 3. You have to just create a field, Narendra.
Yeah.
Well,
Probably I can reduce it.
List it down once you get a handle on it. Just make sure you update it.
Yep.
Okay. Contracts.
Yeah, you can send it to me, Sanjay.
Okay. And what size do you think?
2 to 3.
Just make sure you update it if.
Yep, sure, definitely.
Show revenue by account.
I can take this, Sanjay.
You can? All right.
Yep.
Size?
2 to 3.
Refining, let's get that one. All right, current close date. This looks like maintenance. Oh, this is already assigned.
Chandler, use maintenance. I think that's a new feature.
It's a new feature?
Yeah, it's strategic.
Okay.
Yeah, strategic for sure.
Chandler, what do you think size-wise?
2.
Okay. All right, refining and ready. Also strategic.
Yeah, this is strategic, and I'll give it 3.
In-app guidance. This is strategic for sure. Is this something we need focus to look at? This is an old one. 124. Got a couple older ones.
So the request here for walkthrough, are we wanting to use the Salesforce in-app guidance stuff? Because it's not as feature rich as I would like.
That was the original idea, but if there's a better option, absolutely open.
There's
to
better options that cost money. But yeah, I'll take that one. Let's dig into it. Looks like fun.
What size?
Unless somebody else really wants it. I mean, it could be 5 points.
Or maybe, I mean, this might be something you have to put it together and do a demo of what exists and say this is why it might not be optimal, and then we might have to justify an outside request if need be. But
David, if and when we get down the path here and you need to pull in, the if is if you need to pull in someone from RevOps, can you pull in Nikki and I?
all right. Contacts, Narendra, pick this one up.
Yes, Sanjay, you can add 2 for that.
All right, got a few more, and then we look like we're done. Populate user record fields with data.
I want to know, Justin, that you have any document which says the user's manager or the region, because we worked on several CRM support tickets or the tickets that have been added into the backlog for creating a new user. A lot of times the region or the timing or the team or the manager has not been mentioned in the ticket, that's the reason why we leave it as blank. So do you have any document which gives me that information? Yeah, we can add it to the user record. Yeah, then I can work on that if the document has been provided.
Yeah, and whatever specific pieces of information would be helpful in that document, just let us know beyond what we have listed in the ticket, and we'll make sure it's there before we provide it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Sam, can you repeat that?
Whatever information that you want to see documented, just let us know, and we'll format the file the right way before we add it.
Yeah, just the user name and the fields that you wanted to update, like the manager or which team they belong to or which region. Whatever fields you want to update in the user record, just the username, and beside that, what are the fields you want to update in the user record. That helps. Or the username is also helps. Yep. I think Sanjay, I can only decide once I get
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
This sounds like this needs to be refined a little bit more, and then we can pull it in. And these are lower priorities, so we can pull these in as we go. So if we have capacity later on, then you can pull this in when it's ready. So can I move this to refining?
I actually have a question about that in the sense of, would it be technical design and in progress because we're finding out what else we need to know?
No, it's a fair point. No, it's a fair point. So if this is part of the analysis to say, hey, you know, we understand what we need to do, but we have some open questions, then it's okay to put it in analysis. It's just whether, but it's literally, if we picked it up, we're blocked, right? Because we have an open question. So it's semantics truly, but one of those things is that we require that information to get this going. So I'm okay with putting it in, because I think with all the other stories she has, you'll probably have this information before she gets to pull this story up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, okay. But it won't have an estimate because she doesn't know until she sees that information, right? You okay with that? All right.
I think that comes under maintenance, Sanjay. 453.
Okay. I just reflex. All right. Opportunity. Right. I'll be muting on and off. I have some work happening at the house, and if it's hard to hear, sorry. This seems like a larger story.
I kind of want to take off the opportunity label because I feel like it could happen at the account level too. So we could like take off the opportunity at the front. That was my original idea, but I'll update the title real quick.
David, is this something we should put on RevOps?
I mean, this to me just sounds like a field or that we're trying to track some information, right? Sam?
Yes, Justin, I don't totally agree. So we should probably figure that part out.
Yeah, we can totally talk about it. Verizon is the example. If Verizon buys for their employees in one deal, but they buy for the social impact thing in another, you have two different values.
And two different accounts in Salesforce as of now.
Those need to be one. So we should talk about it.
That's a product problem, not a us problem. So I think it would live on whatever we use in the long term to represent a product instance, but right now that's the account.
Maybe we attack that.
I mean, we could have a custom object where we track products.
The
So,
the part that Justin and I are talking about right here is the fact that right now there is a one-to-one between our actual product usage and our Salesforce accounts, even if they're buying for two different use cases, which is why sometimes we see duplicates in Salesforce that we have to keep because they're technically like two separate instances of the same account buying. Long term, we've talked about in the past getting rid of that relationship, but it's pending, as far as I understand it, some product work to be able to change that relationship. And that's where the long-term answer for this, I don't think, is opportunity or account. And the reason that I'm erring on the side of account now is there's other information on the account that will move to whatever the new thing that we use to maintain that relationship is. So it's more about how many of these things are in the same place. Justin, is that tracking or are you seeing it differently?
No, broadly that resonates, and it's a really good call out. I want to target this product thing, and this is just one of those chiropractic decisions that we need to make so that we can walk unencumbered, to overextend the metaphor. So Sam, why don't you and I talk about that piece? I do have to jump. I'm so sorry. I'm jumping to the Deloitte thing, but if you need me for anything, please ping. Otherwise, I'll see all of you very soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin. So
I
Sam,
guess you can put this one back in refining in my name at the top of the backlog, and then
gotcha.
we'll mark it as ready if someone wants to pull it in, but we won't worry about putting it in the sprint start.
okay.
Seems like a pretty close one. I think I just need to go over a couple things. We got one more story. We may hit it. All right.
So, David, this is one that we had put in refining earlier because you had that question about should it actually block someone from closing an opportunity. And then I talked to Justin, and it should block someone from closing it. And the bypass would be RevOps or someone else's bypass validation rules doing it for them. But the normal business process will be this doesn't let someone do it until this field is cleared by accounting or by us.
I can't remember if it was this org. Do we have the bypass all?
Validation rules?
Yeah.
Yeah, just RevOps has it right now.
This is from April.
So we
I
could-
think, so.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Just, yeah, this could be simple.
And this has the old template, so if you need any further information, please just ping me, put in my name. But I reread it, and I think that was the only open question we had before we did anything. So,
Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah.
What size, David?
Let's say 3 for now.
Okay. No, I fully think that some of these will get assigned to RevOps as we kind of wrap a few of them. So, or not RevOps, sorry. OpFocus when you kind of wrap a couple of the conversations up, right, David?
Yeah.
Okay, with that, I think we've gotten all of them. There's some permission set stuff at the bottom.
so that stuff's at the bottom because even though 2 of them are ready, we don't actually have all the permission set groups done yet. So that
Okay.
was what's holding it up. And there's some work happening that was happening in the last sprint to get those more ready. And there should be more work on the RevOps and this sprint to get it underway. But the old catch-all of if it's not directly revenue generating, it usually gets deprioritized is kind of catching up to us with this one.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen more in the next few months too. So we'll start having those conversations at the same time. Okay. We can, again, I think we're pretty solid on capacity. So I think we can start this sprint unless anyone has any questions. And then Sam, if you could do me a quick favor, when you get a chance, is confirm the priority order in the sprint. It should be as you reviewed them and put them in. I think it looks right. But just confirm if there's something that jumps out at you.
Will do.
All with that said, I will start the sprint.
Rock and roll.
All right. Great work, everyone. right on time. Look at that. Solid. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. If you have any
Thanks.
questions, reach out.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.